abundance of letters that are spilled from heaven to the man, and it symbolizes the blessing from the fountain of life, the source of creation. Genesis explained that the Creator created the world with letters. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And in this way, He is creating every moment all the blessings that come to our lives. The wings that you see in the image grew out of the man's yearning to fly and to go up to the upper source of light. The soul yearns to fly up, but a silver thread binds her to the world. A man standing here in the vortex of life. This troubleness is the erosion of all forces that control our life. The soul has no rest, but when the man raises his head and he is calling God from the depths of his soul, a path of light is opening for him. This painting describes the drift into the whirlpool of life with a loss of control. But the light that is at the top of the vortex gives us hope and consolation. Jewish meditation is an important commandment. Shiviti the name of the Lord always before me. The thought of the sacred letters of the name that representing the divine name raises us to a high spiritual level, and it opens an abundance from heaven. The painting describes a moment when a person is becoming aware of the wonderful serenity of the universe and creation. He is rising up over the daily material life and far beyond himself to meet the great universe and spiritual worlds that around him. The person in the painting is going out of the darkness into the light. The light arrives from the menorah, which is an authentic ancient lamp that was found in the excavation in Israel. The painting symbolizes the search of meaning. In the ancient Jewish symbols, we can find a spiritual meaning to our life here and now. The pit that the child is looking at is a gravesite that usually signifying the end of life. But the child can see here a new beginning. We have here an impossible combination that invites us to think about the end of life in a new way. This may be just the beginning of a new world. Here we have a moment of outpouring of the soul, a moment of unity between man and creation. Everything is open. Everything can be open. We see here a man pray and cry to God. This cry has hope in it and elevation that comes through the prayer into the whole of heaven. The painting is trying to express the basic idea of Hasidut, that any material thing is holding spiritual sparks inside it, and those sparks should return to the upper spiritual world. When we behave with the material in a spiritual way, those sparks are rising to their roots. This picture also deals with the idea of spiritual life inside the material things. According to Hasidut, every material thing has inside it spiritual sparks, and when we make a blessing over the bread, these sparks are returning and going up to the spiritual world. This painting also showing us the sparks that are in the matter. The sparks are symbolized with the Hebrew letters. The material was created from spirit. According to the Kabbalah, material created from a spiritual power. Actually, the material is spiritually in a dress. In this painting, a curious little girl peeks through a crack in the sky curtain. She is very, very eager to know what is hidden there and beyond it. You too? The little girl and the older woman are the same woman when she is a child and when she is in the end of her life. The path on which she walks is the path of life. On both sides of the track meet two oceans, the good and the nourishing powers and the opposed forces. At the end of the travel, there is a ladder leading to the sky, back home. This painting reveals cosmic infinity words. God will enlighten his face to you. There is a moment in life where everything becomes clear to us that inspired us to see that every detail of life is united with the Creator. And the Lord said to Moses, "Whoever I am, I am." This image expresses the statement God said to Moses when he asked how to explain to the people of Israel who sent him. In this statement, God explained to him that his essence is eternal and endless, and there is no need to define and narrow the eternal essence. The ladder represents the life stages that end up with a big branch of fruits. The real fruits of our actions in this world we can only see in the next world. It is not clear if this vessel is falling down or going up, such as our mental lives. Sometimes we think we are falling, but actually we are going up, and sometimes on the contrary. This is the symbol of the world of spheres, sphirot, according to the Kabbalah, the tree of life metaphor. The branches and roots of the tree are similar. The branches affected by the roots, and the roots are affected by the branches. Light flows from the top to the entire image, and the clouds below are a vessel to receive this light. According to the Kabbalah, we are all tools to get infinite abundance of light from heaven, and how we receive it depends on the size of our tools. Here we can see how the power of joy can break all the boundaries of this world. When a person is dancing with real joy, even if his feet, that are the lowest part of the body, disconnect the ground and rising into the air. painting expresses, with a Jewish symbolism, the influence of light and abundance from top to bottom through the symbol of three-dimensional Star of David. The deep and meaningful reading, Shema Israel, opens for us a huge stream of light and heat from the ground up to the sky. The little girl sent out her hand while looking to touch the unknown in order to understand the secret of it. Her yearning is so profound that it penetrates even through distant galaxies. The painting comes to remind us that every person has angels who guard him. They guard him in all his ways, even if sometimes it seems to him that he is all alone. The painting reflects the transition that everyone eventually will have to make from the material to the spiritual. The question is whether this transition will happen through our free choice and will, or will be forced on us. I painted this painting during the war from a feeling that the situation is so bizarre and unnatural that we have only to rely on our Heavenly Father to save us from the horrible waves. And indeed, He did it, and He is doing it all the time. The painting expresses the harmony that is created by the Star of David symbol between the top of the universe, symbolized by the sky, and the lower part of the universe, symbolized by the water. The man is standing in the center, and he himself is the connection between top and bottom that unite all the opposites. The painting is trying to express vividly the descriptions of people who have experienced clinical death and felt that they were drifting through a bright tunnel into the afterlife. This baby's soul is breasting from the hidden world to the revealed world. This painting reflects the moment of the special connection with the spiritual world while praying. This painting reflects the many stages of life we have to pass until we complete the mission that the soul came to do in this world. The painting tries to illustrate how a man and a woman have the ability and the power to grow a tree of an endlessly blooming of many houses and many humans and many souls. This painting reflects expectations. The chairs represent a frozen situation. There is a waiting for movement and redemption that starts to come down through the white light. When a woman lights Shabbat's candles, she reveals the light of 7 temples in the upper heavenly world. This painting illustrates the enormous craving of the soul to the sweet light of God. We see here a huge tornado over the city. These are severe storms in our lives. It seems sometimes that they threaten to destroy everything. But in the center of the storm, there is a helping hand that is sent from heaven to rescue and heal, and draws us out of the storm. The painting was made by an inspiration from the Gemara that says the baby is sitting in his mother's womb. There is a candle above his head, and he sees from the edge of the world to the end of the world. The soul is like a candle. It has not yet been limited with the body, within the body, so it can still see from the edge of the world to the end of the world. This painting describes the so-called bridge that we will have to go through to get to the miraculous. As Rabbi Nachman said, all the world is a very narrow bridge, and the main thing is not to be afraid at all. The idea here is about the atom and all its parts that create the material, that actually it is a spiritual element symbolized by the Star of David. God watches over the man wherever he goes and spread out wings of grace and mercy to guard him everywhere. The man goes on dry earth in a dark reality, but he holds the Torah scroll and it leads him to a world of light and redemption. Light that comes up from the man and light that goes down from heaven, together they form the shape of Star of David. Here is an expression of the idea that there is a spiritual city, golden and bright, which may reveal to us with the perfect redemption and with the third temple that will come down from heaven.